Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. We are part of D115, or we are D115, and we are one of the only shows that go live on Facebook in our district. And we serve Las Vegas, Southern Nevada, and a little bit of Utah, as Gene Williams always says. I am waiting for Gene Dunford to jump on. We are having technical difficulties, so let's see if he actually gets on today. So today, I thought we would talk about, instead of just Toastmasters, about presentations, because that's a big thing that we do, right? We give speeches, public speaking. Some people want to be accredited speakers. Some people want to be a motivational speaker. Some people want to be on TED Talk, and that's why they join Toastmasters. There's books that we read. I want to just segue until Gene gets on. There's books that we read, self-development books, and they do talk about if you want to be able to be a better presenter, if you want to be a better speaker, if you want to be able to be a better communicator, join Toastmasters. I was actually looking at a not FaceTime, but time hop of a article that I was reading, or a book that I was reading, that I highlighted and I posted on Facebook. And I think it was from Brian Tracy, who said that if you want to be a better speaker, if you want to get out of your shell, you want to be an extrovert instead of an introvert, then definitely join a Toastmasters group. I am going to let Gene Dunford in. Good morning, Gene Dunford. You're on mute, and you say that you're Gene Williams. Just to let you know, make sure you're the right person, as he's still trying to come in or unmute himself. So that's just one of the reasons why I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to be a public speaker. I do really good at public speaking or presenting or teaching. And Toastmasters can give you that little bit of tip to make you even better. Good morning. We were talking in another Toastmasters group where we were saying, oh, practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes better. You're still on mute, Gene, and you say that you're Gene Williams, just to let you know. And I know that you're on mute, and I know there's no technical difficulties on my end, just making sure on my end. So Toastmasters gives you that opportunity to be in front of people, in front of different people, so that you can present and you can practice and you can practice. And I belong to 3 clubs, and I still get in front of people. I wasn't nervous getting in front of people talking. I could talk about anything, right? But I'm nervous giving people a presentation on things that maybe other people already know about, because what if they are better at it? What if they say, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? So, but can you talk? Will you talk now? Are you talking, Gene? There you are.
There I am.
Yeah.
Oh, what a trip I've had.
It said the host won't let you unmute. And
psychedelic mushrooms never gave me this trip.
From entering the invalid passcode to
I do not understand what my problem is, but I sure have one.
Well, good morning. So glad that you're on and made it on. I was just talking to the audience about Toastmasters is more than just public speaking, where people have to stand up in front of people, but also to build your self-confidence as well. And then there's a news article, or not news article, a magazine in our Toastmasters International about sabotaging your speech. And I think we glossed over it last week because I wanted to, or last, it was maybe a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the magazine and what articles there were. And I saw the sabotaging your presentation, and I figured that I have a problem with my mouse that I lock it when I touch it. And I figure we would talk about sabotaging your presentations, not on purpose, but steps to make you not sabotage your presentations. And then if you find it useful for those of you in the audience, this is what we do when we give evaluations as well, right? So maybe I will share my screen. Maybe not. I have a new, I tell you, I have a new computer.
Oh, no, maybe that's my problem. I don't have a new computer.
So every now and then there will be something new, like, oh, well, that's kind of new. So,
So the article, when it was talking about sabotaging yourself, were they talking about not preparing enough or not being prepared for your speech? Or
let's just talk about it.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, let me see if I can actually get to the desktop. I don't think it wants me to. I don't, because it says Chrome. Oh, let's see. So now you guys get to see how interesting. It won't let me share. So I will just go through the article. And so the first one is, when you're sitting there and you're listening to a presentation and a presenter, and he says, oh, well, that's the last slide, or, oh, that's all I got. They just end it abruptly. Okay, that's all I got. Any questions? The article says these phrases may be self-soothing, but what you're really telling the audience is that you just wanted to get through the presentation and not deliver a valuable point. And understand your true point and end with an expression that reinforces it. So instead of, well, that's the last slide, any questions? You would say, and that is how you close a successful transaction. Yeah. See the difference? Is that a difference?
Positive. Yep. Being positive.
Being positive. And then at least you basically summed it up in one sentence. That is how you have a successful closing. Yeah. I left out the and this time because that is definitely something that doesn't need to be in there. But right, Jean, because your grammarian would say, and you used and too much.
The thing is that when you sabotage yourself, you can even in your introduction, you say, well, I'm just here to deliver this message. Just is a limiting word in itself. I'm just here. I'm here to give you this message. I'm just here to give you this message. It's a difference. And it's just one word.
And you know what? I actually remove just when I'm writing now. Hi, I'm just checking on you. Hi, I'm checking on you.
Right.
To make sure that you have followed through.
Yep.
So it is definitely, Toastmasters definitely makes you, when you're reading, you're adjusting the words that you use instead of, oh, well, and it's maybe you're trying to soften it up. Well, I'm just trying to help, it's not. I am trying to help you. If that's the way you want, you will be direct. And Toastmasters does help you with that and with your presentations, with your communication and your writing. The next sabotage is you rush to get to the next piece of business. So some speakers end with a concluding point and then rush to the next meeting business, such as questions and answers, which we've already talked about. And that's my last slide. Any questions?
Mhm.
You can't start another question and answer or introduce another speaker following your speech. Pause before you do it, as if you're starting a new chapter and allowing your final point to sink in.
Yep.
When you are getting ready to introduce another speaker right behind your presentation, that is how you do a successful closing. Pause. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Jean Dunford, who is going to tell you how to give successful feedback. That way, there's a pause, there's a clap, and then it's time to give you, introduce your next speaker. Any pointers on that?
No, I like that. And I've seen a lot of presentations where the speaker introduces the next speaker. It saves time. That's one of the things. But I do like the formality that we have of the Toastmaster, and I'll bring back the Toastmaster and then let the Toastmaster introduce the next person rather than the speaker, because I do believe that when you do that to your speaker, you're kind of pushing him to an edge where he could fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to a swanky dinner a couple of years ago, right after I became a Toastmaster. And we have a protocol, for those of you who are not Toastmasters, we have a protocol where when we introduce the next speaker, we shake their hands. We relinquish the control of the lectern to the next person, and we shake their hands, and then it gives them the opportunity to kind of relax when you're at the lectern or a podium. When we don't give that relinquishment, it just go kind of awkward, because we do that a lot with different associations, and we have business meetings, and we're up there and people don't know the Toastmasters way, and you're kind of awkward because they kind of leave or they step back, or what do I do? Where do I go? And it is kind of awkward, right?
Right. It's like introducing the speaker and walking off the stage before the speaker's there.
Yeah.
That's
Let's introduce
a
Jean
little bit
Dunford.
rude, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to chase them across the hall to shake hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've
Well,
lost the shaking hands with COVID. Nobody shakes hands anymore.
I don't believe that's true. I shake hands in my meeting.
Do you?
Yeah. I shake hands in my meeting. Some people don't shake hands, but I shake hands in my meeting. If they, they go like this, or, elbow, but for the most part, my club members, we do shake hands. I think we're the love all people. Let's just, get it over with. But it does give you a better, from the sabotaging part, it does give you a better closure or a better opener when you are up there at the podium.
Yeah. Now, we want to make sure we know the difference between podium and lectern.
Yes.
The podium is something you step on. Podium is a Roman word for foot. So podium is your foot. So you're putting your foot on the stage. That's the podium. The lectern is the thing you stand behind that you can put your notes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question. I have a podium, I'm hoping, that has a microphone, and I can also put my notes on. Is that the same?
That would be a lectern.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I learned something new today after being a Toastmaster.
If you walk up and you climb up on top of a stage and you're standing on the stage, that's podium.
Oh.
But when you're standing behind the lectern, you're standing behind the lectern, even if it's on the podium.
Gotcha. Well, everyone, drop some comments there, some high fives, and good to know. There was a lady that I used to follow and listen to whenever she was a network marketer, and she would always say, drop the dollar signs or the money bags in the comments if you believe in what I say. So you know what? Drop some high fives in there for Jean telling us the difference between podium.
Join in on the discussion. Tell us what you think. What's a podium? What's a lectern?
Yeah, tell us, definitely. So the next thing about sabotaging your presentation is it says outsource your authority to a dead guy. They say some people think it's a good idea to end with a brilliant quotation. It's not a good idea, and here's why. You researched the topic, you did the work, you created the presentation, otherwise qualified yourself to make the points. Why outsource the final reinforcing thoughts to someone you've never met, doesn't know you or your presentation, and is likely long dead? Sticking the landing isn't just about completing your speech, it's about reinforcing your point. So again, and that is how you do a successful closing, because you, me, I am the expert on it. Don't give the credit to somebody else who isn't around. You are the one that everybody has their eyes on, not the person that you gave a quote. You may have given, what do you think, Jean, that maybe you would give that quote at the beginning?
Right? I would definitely say a quote somewhere close to the beginning, that you would say, according to so-and-so, this is what happened, and then build from that on your experience. So that if you say, my teacher, Albert Einstein, told me, right? And then you give his quote, and then you talk about all of your theoretical physics classes and your education in that, and how you built the atomic bomb. Then you want to tell all of that after you say, well, I knew Albert Einstein. Well, immediately that gets the attention of someone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it gets the attention of people. Oh, he worked with some famous guy everybody knows. And then you tell all of your points. And
Yeah.
if you want to close, reiterate the most important point that you've covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that would be your close.
We actually would be able to write this article, because it says finalize that role by ending the presentation yourself, right? It's all about me.
Otherwise, it'd be like walking out on a stage, and the first comment would be, "Well, I know nothing about this subject, but I did read this book." That automatically says, "Well, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about."
What is really funny is that as we're reading this article and we're doing this Facebook Live and we're talking about the article, yes, I am taking this information and dictating what I'm thinking it's saying, but we are giving our experience, right? And we are giving our opinions and our feedback of the article. It's a great article, and it makes the big thing about this article, and why we are on Wake Up with Toastmasters talking about it, is pointers for you to say, if the article gives just these tidbits, imagine what being in the program of Toastmasters can do for your presentations, right? It then talks about you didn't reinforce your point again, but that was the first couple of points, reinforcing. And then it says you didn't look up. We always, in our evaluations, is where is your audience content? You are reading the presentation, you are reading your speech, and you don't look up. You don't have that speech memorized. Jean talked about the other day about how to memorize, right? Because we talked about the research, how to memorize. Maybe we didn't go over this.
I don't think that was me.
And no, it was you. We
Was?
talked about, yes.
I have
And
a very poor memory.
yeah. And this is what you 51st dates. We'll just always remind you of what you
Mhm.
said. So the part about you gave me a point, a tip, because I asked you, how do you memorize if it's not about you? Because we all know our story, right? We could
Mhm.
tell our
Mhm.
story about our life, our birthdays, the party we went to, the last speech we gave. We can give those all day long. And I still have notes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still need notes.
Mhm.
But when we do research on something and we have to present, because that's one of our levels, our paths in our program, that we have to research and then present what we research. And I asked you this question, how do you memorize that? Because it's not something that you're really familiar with.
Mhm.
And you said, reread it over and over, and then you'll have the points memorized. You did say
Okay. It's a
that.
great idea. I'm glad I heard that today.
That's funny. So you did say that, number one,
Uh,
and it was a great tip. To
uh,
me, that was a great tip, because I ask people all the time, how do you memorize your speech? And you just reread it over and over, and you know the points, and then you draw the outlines of what you want, and that'll give you the opportunity, right, to look at your audience instead of
Even if you can't memorize the entire speech, if you write out 5 or 6 points you're going to talk about, then
Mhm,
you can read that point rather than writing out verbatim what you're going to say about that point.
correct.
You can have the street map saying point one and whatever the thing is, and then you'll talk about that, and then you'll go to point two, and you've got your 3 or 4 points that you're going to talk about. So you have something that you can follow like a map
Correct. And that's
rather
what we
than
mean. That
reading out your whole speech.
exactly.
Yeah.
It says if your point is a nail, your eyes can be the hammer. So
Mhm.
whether you prepare for, I can't believe they put a so in there. So whether you prepare far in advance or immediately in the point, say your final reinforcing words directly to the audience who appreciate it, not your notes or the
Mhm.
PowerPoint
Right.
slides who couldn't care less. That means when you want to say, and now that is how you do a successful
Mhm.
closing. You're not going, and now that's how you do a
Right.
successful closing. You look at the audience and you're hammering it in. And
Yeah.
now that's how you do a successful closing.
Mhm.
So, and those are the points that uh, is about how basically are you sabotaging your presentation is
Mhm.
the article. I will put the article in the URL in the comments if you want to read it. If you have any questions about being a Toastmaster or the program, it is a program, then don't don't be shy. Put it in the comments and we will be glad to answer any questions you may have. I enjoyed our presentation today, our little show today.
Mhm.
What about you, Jean? Do you think people
Awesome.
enjoyed it?
I think we presented some information that people can use even outside of Toastmasters if they're giving speeches in school, anything at all.
Yeah,
Uh, don't write out your speech verbatim, write key points and deliver off of that.
yeah. All right. We are at the final part of our show today. And tomorrow we have Phyllis Tribby and Scott Transu. Friday, I think we have Jean and Jean,
Yep.
Jean.
Yeah.
And then I will see you with Jean Dunford next Wednesday. Maybe we'll find another article to discuss. I think
That'd
I
be
kind of
fun.
like that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was kind of
That'd
fun.
be great.
And then for those of you who are Toastmasters who want to join us and talk about your Toastmasters journey, why don't you give us a shout out and we will actually schedule you to be on. You can be
Yep.
on with any one of us because we are on 5 days a week.
If if you're having an open house or you're having any kind of meeting at all that you want to invite people to, come on here and invite people to come to your meeting.
It's free advertising,
Mhm.
definitely. So, talk up your club. Maybe we should change it. Talk up your club with Toastmasters. I don't know.
Ah, can we move it to noon too? That would be talk
That
up
would
your
be,
Toastmasters at noon. So
yeah, even better. All right, Jean, I am out of here. I got to get to work,
all right.
and we'll see you guys. Have a great Wednesday.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Talk to you later.
Okay. As soon as I
Bye.